On August 23, 2005, a small tropical depression formed over the Bahamas. Early August 24th, the winds reached 40 miles an hour and it was named Tropical Storm Katrina. Just as it was approaching Florida, it reached a Category 1 hurricane status, but reverted to a tropical storm as it passed across the land. Once entering the Gulf of Mexico, Katrina's wind speed quickly increased to 175 miles an hour by August 28th, making it a Category 5 hurricane. By the time Katrina reached Category 5 status, evacuations were already underway in New Orleans. Experts were predicting that the aftermath would make the city and the surrounding area uninhabitable for at least several weeks. By the 29th, before the storm had even fully landed, the Gulf Coast was facing storm surges of 25 feet. Drainage canals and levees were overwhelmed, and the rain was quickly sweeping away everything it encountered. In total, approximately 80% of New Orleans and the surrounding area was flooded. Property damage was estimated at $81 billion in total. The few safe havens that the government set up quickly became overcrowded, and the doors were closed on any new refugees.
Much of the military was diverted into a rescue mode. Small boats and watercraft and hundreds of helicopters were deployed primarily by the Coast Guard and the Navy to aid in the rescue. 40% of the Coast Guard's entire collection of helicopters were sent to aid the rescue efforts to rescue 34,000 people in New Orleans alone.
Trapped homeowners were then brought aboard and transported to high ground and provided with essential supplies. Just as much was accomplished from the air. Helicopters equipped to drop a member of the crew down and haul people from their roofs made thousands of rescues. At times, there were so many helicopters in the air, avoiding collisions with other helicopters became more challenging than the rescues themselves. Despite the massive effort, nearly 2,000 people were killed as a result of Katrina.
Even today, cleanup and restoration is continuing. Homes and neighborhoods are being reestablished and livelihoods are being rebuilt. Nearly all of the boats on the coast were either damaged or destroyed, which meant a major setback for anyone with a business that required a boat. Inland flooding was a major problem for buildings, rendering many useless. Wind and debris destroyed nearly everything that was not underwater.
Nothing remained for most everyone in the areas hit hardest. Building companies and contractors from all over the country were hired to restore the levees and rebuild buildings. Cleaning companies and volunteers were brought in to gather trash, clean up debris, and sanitize surfaces. Between the government and private parties, approximately $70 billion have been spent on the recovery. Putting a measurement of time on the cleanup is hardly feasible, considering the cleanup has yet to be finished. Many areas have not yet been restored to their condition before Katrina, and it is likely that some never will be.
I was the OIC of the squadron. We took 6 helicopters, SH-60 Foxtrots, from NAS Jacksonville, Florida, to New Orleans. We spent 6 weeks total, 3 on the Harry Truman and 3 weeks at NAS Pensacola in Florida. There were no rules. There was no FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. There was no radar control. And so the conditions were that we had to watch out for the other aircraft as much as we had to watch out for power lines, as well as looking for people on the ground. The most amazing thing to me was that over the course of one day, an entire city was totally turned upside down. Those that had homes didn't have homes. Those that didn't have homes to start with, were even worse off. It was if you take stuff for granted, you can see what can happen. The FAA was able to come back online. A lot of government agencies were able to start providing help. The National Guard was able to secure most of the city. But initially, there was not a lot of planning. There was a lot of reacting. Be prepared. It's and one of the surprising things is that it shouldn't have been surprising. New Orleans is below sea level. They watched it on the news for a week and a half, 2 weeks, as the hurricane walked its way all the way across the Atlantic Ocean into the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. And still they were surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, there was some humor in it. We'd spend most of our times about 60 feet over the streets, just going, maybe 5-10 miles an hour, just looking for people that need help. A lot of people would write on the roof, with spray paint, mother, 2 broken legs, need food, need water. So we did a lot of that initially. But we were headed down one street, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move that shouldn't have been moving. It was a giraffe. So even the animals in the zoo got displaced.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.